morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. And Spence is here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm reaching you from my Zen garden.
Today's show is made possible by VMix Software, by DudinIT.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. So what is happening? Anything? Anything happened this past week? That
Nothing. There's nothing to see here. Move along. Move along.
The only technology thing I did this week was successful. I installed cameras at somebody's house, but I didn't pay much attention to tech stories this past week.
So how many cameras did you install?
2 now, and then I'm on top of that, I'm going to do a security system. 4 sensors. Four entry 2 entry sensors, a motion sensor, humidity, temperature sensors. It was one other thing I can't remember.
And which system did you go with?
A Wise.
Oh,
Wise has
yeah.
monitoring. They actually had a kind of a victory here because I was trying to buy something. I think I might have mentioned this last week on their website, and the shopping cart got messed up. It was an offer where they gave you a half-price deal on their starter kit. The starter kit is the base station, a bunch of sensors, and a keypad.
What is the base station when you're talking about?
Base station is you don't have to use Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi, but it's through their base station. Like Simply Safe has Wi-Fi based sensors, but they use their own base station, their own access point to talk to them, right? Because it has a battery backup and so it can continue working if your Wi-Fi in the house fails. Simply Safe has carrier failover too, but the Wise system, it's a base station, keypad, and a bunch of sensors, and it was half price if you ordered it with 1 year of monitoring, which is $5 a month, and could not get the shopping cart to work. You select that, and as soon as you did that, it just said, well, let's review your order, and it showed the discounted bundle as undefined. So you go to check out, and it was gone. So I actually called them, and they asked me for screenshots of it, and I go, I was talking to the tech support on the phone. She says, yeah, I see it. I just reproduced it. And it took them about 4 days. They fixed it. So there were different ways to buy it. You could buy it through Amazon and other third parties, but if you wanted to buy it directly from them and get the discount and the free shipping and all that, it wasn't working. And it wasn't worth it for me to buy it without the bundle.
So where is the DVR?
In the cloud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's cloud. It's not, they're all wireless cams. I installed a pan and tilt cam inside, and I installed one of their video doorbells.
How are the outside wireless one get their power?
USB cable, or there is one that's a battery. You can put it outside, and it's good
so you're supposed to bring electricity close to them.
Yes. Yeah. So the same way I mounted mine. I mean, I have power over Ethernet to mine, but it's a cable.
Oh, but USB,
it's just USB power. You plug it into any USB.
But you can't run USB 100 feet.
They do make an extension cable. I'm not sure how far it goes. It's only for power. It's not for signaling. So it might go further.
Oh.
So
go
ahead.
Well, with Wise, you mentioned cloud, right? With Wise, you can, at least some of their cameras.
Oh, you can record to an SD card, yes.
Individual. Well, no, that's not what I wanted to say. So they have a firmware that has RTSP output, and then you can disconnect it from the cloud.
Well, that's
So you
good.
buy it from them and officially just switch to RTSP, and you can record locally.
Switch
know
it
that. That's good.
in software.
Yeah, there's a switch in the app. You just switch it, and
You point it at
and you can block the external IP in firewall if
Are-
you're still, worried. But that's it.
But do they provide any kind of an application that allows you to go in afterwards and go back and forward?
Yeah, the same application.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not all of their cams, but I do know I have a Wise cam that I bought a while back, a pivoting one, and at one time they released that firmware. I mean, there's some warnings. If you do this, you don't get updates as frequently as with the other and stuff like that. But then again, it's not a big deal. You're disconnected from the net, so.
Very nice.
The only thing I'm going to probably do away with UMA because it's become too expensive. And I'm going to probably lose my landline. I'm not sure about that yet. I'm looking at alternatives.
Now,
Switch to Google Voice with Obi-Hi.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. So I have a way, because my kids are concerned about reaching us during the middle of the night or something like that if we don't have our phones next to our beds. The one way they can reliably call us is on the landline. So
you actually have a Bell South landline now?
No, when I say landline, I mean
it's
through UMA. It's through a Pcie.
Yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't matter which service you get. You plug it to the same telephone system.
I realized. Yeah, I'm looking at it. I just
how much do you use the UMA?
How much do we use? What, the phone itself?
Yeah.
Actually, just to check voicemail.
Okay. See, because with Envio, now I don't know. Google Voice is probably completely free. With Envio, which I use, you can get the free account, which gives you, I think, 500 incoming minutes, but no outgoing. For outgoing, it's a penny a minute, or half a penny a minute, something like that. But it's next to nothing.
I never use it. Maybe once in a while, I might call somebody on it. But
yeah, and you have all those features to.
Yeah, and with Google Voice, all you do is you go online to check your voicemail.
Oh.
You won't even call a phone number, right? It'll be a lot easier. You'll get it transcribed and all that.
I have a Google Voice number. I just don't use it much.
Yeah. You have Google Voice.
Yeah, I mean everything.
How is their crank call filters?
I do not have a lot of spam. There are some that goes through. Actually, most of the spam that I get is not on the Google Voice line, is on my cell line, which I don't give around. So, it's like a computer probably trying random numbers, or I do know this number used to belong to somebody else right before I bought it from T-Mobile. So,
yeah.
One thing I didn't find how to do is how to actually block I probably wouldn't want to. So Google Voice on a cell phone specifically, on an Android phone, works in a way where you can get incoming calls to the cell line.
Right.
It forwards the Google Voice number to the cell line. So even if I don't have data around, which at the beginning it was more important, I can get the call directly to the cell. I can probably block that, and then I'll get a lot less spam calls. But Google Voice, spam-wise, it's okay. I mean, when I go every once in a while to the web interface, and the spam list is definitely calls that I've never heard. So not a problem.
Yeah,
No, never missed a call because of it.
I was getting a lot of spam up till when I switched to Envio, and with their what they call it, press one to continue.
Yeah, but your line is not only like very established, long living.
Yeah,
it's also public.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't need any. You can, by the way, activate such filtering in Google Voice as well.
Mm-hmm.
The way it works is it pauses and waits for you to record your name so I can hear it and decide if I want to answer.
Oh.
Yeah. But I mean, spam still records, right? Because it stays on the line and continues to talk. So I do get that call, but sometimes, but I can decide not to. I have that on the home line. On my cell line, I don't have it.
Yeah, on the cell from T-Mobile, there's that thing about screen call.
Yeah, scam likely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it says but I mean, it also said scan or something like that. And if you click it, it tells the user that you're using a Google blah blah blah, and to say why you calling, and then you just see it. It transcribes it at the bottom. I don't know where it came from.
Okay.
It's when I switched to T-Mobile, I got that. You can answer or you can filter it, kind
of. Okay.
But you still, at that point, it rings.
Yeah.
You have to pick it up and look at it and press the button, not to answer, but to see who it is. But it works.
Yeah, I never activated anything like that on T-Mobile. I'm on T-Mobile.
I don't think I did. It just started working. Maybe it's was by default, something like that. Next time we see each other, I'll let you see it.
Make sure you're not paying for it.
Yeah. Yeah, but so Spence, how much money is it going to save you a month? I mean, Uma is what, $5 and some for the tax?
Yeah, with the taxes. I think it's up to $6 now with taxes.
So
but I also pay a yearly monitoring.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because
which is over $100. So
yeah, you go with the Prime or whatever they call it.
The Wise is $59 a year. I won't use the actual callback monitoring. I just want to be alerted and set up geocaching so that when both of us leave the house, I can get notifications if a door opens or something. And I have the water sensor is the one I'm most concerned about in the attic. That's through UMA now, but so I have sensors on 2 doors. The garage door itself has a sensor, water sensors.
He really needs he really needs Home Assistant, doesn't he?
Oh, I think I'm going to get there, because when I want to start to integrate I have a lot of different manufacturers for smart plugs and bulbs and all that I would like to have. Besides using, I mean, Alexa's okay, but I'd rather do it with something that's a little more flexible.
Yep.
I mean,
the smart plugs now, the prices are incredible. I mean, you can get packages. You go to Costco, even the regular price there for a package of 2 or 3, something like that is like $12. Sometimes cheaper than that.
The ones that work with Alexa, you mean?
Yeah, they sell Fight Electric. Fight Electric is the brand, but they work with Alexa. I have ones from TP-Link from Amazon. There's a third one. I can't remember the name of it, but they all work. They all have their own. You just turn on the integration and point it towards your Amazon account, and it finds it.
Gal, will all these work with Home Assistant in a local mode?
Not necessarily. There are a few that probably will, but mostly if they are supported, they'll be through, what will they be through? They'll be through their own services.
Okay.
So very similar to Alexa, right? The way Amazon works, or a Google assistant works, right? Is you have your plug, whatever you bought, connect to their own server
Right.
outside, and that server knows how to talk with the Amazon services or the Google services, right? And push and receive communication via the Google account or Amazon account. When you use Home Assistant, if the device itself has some local communication capabilities, the community usually figures that out and you'll get instructions on what to do then. But if not, then, and it is still supported, then it'll be through the external server. It's still, I think you still find the convenience of having everything on a single pane of glass. That's the wording usually, right? You can combine everything to your own dashboard. And reaction times are usually faster because they're not the applications that go through the external server usually has a delay of the control itself, and here you shorten the delay by half, so you still get more responsive behavior.
Yeah. All right. Talking about Amazon. Amazon is raising the price of its annual Prime membership to $139 from
It's doing it
$119.
every 2 to 3 years.
What?
I mean, every 2 to 3 years they do it.
Yeah, but they're going now from 119 to 140, 130.
Yeah.
So $20. They announced it on last Thursday as part of its fourth quarter earning results. Last hiked the price of Prime in 2018 when it also was by $20 when it's increased from 119 from 99.
Yeah.
4 years before that, it raised the subscription to 99 from 79.
Right.
Annual increase amounts to about 17% rise in price. They also raised the monthly price of Prime membership from $12.99 to $14.99. What does that mean?
Prime Music, probably.
Yeah, they don't say that. Okay. New members will see the increase prices on February 18th, and current members will be billed at the higher rate after March 25th. So I guess if mine was renewed about 3 weeks ago, I'm fine. Huh?
I know that I'm renewing in October. I wonder if I can push an additional, like before the hike.
I wish there was a way they say, you know what, I want to pay for, well, I don't know, 5, 6 years, but it's not. Nah.
I mean, even if you cancel, as far as I recall,
Yeah.
is you don't get a prorated back. You just do not renew. So it's on until it expires, and that's it.
Okay.
But I might be wrong. I haven't canceled.
They said the Prime gives members access to 2-day shipping, and that lately is not the case. More and more not the case, as well as access to exclusive movies and TV shows. As of last April, the service had more than 200 million subscribers worldwide. Oh. So yeah, we're paying for it. But I got to say,
why do you feel it's not the case? The 2-day shipping. I mean,
in many of the cases, it says 2-day shipping, and then it says, okay, it's going to be delivered on Friday, and then I get a message
Yeah, this happens a lot.
on Wednesday, and it says, "Oh, it's going to be." And I
You
think
find a lot. How many orders a year are you
At
making,
least,
and how
at
many
least,
orders like this happen?
at least half.
quite a few. I don't know about half,
So
but quite
it's
a few.
unpredictable. You can go and it'll say, 2-day. Sometimes it'll say 1 day. And you'll go and you'll get to the checkout and you'll see, wait a second, what do you mean? It's like 5 days from now. Because they don't check what you see is just the blurb of what they hope to do.
It may be different, Gal. It may be different for you. I don't know why, but I see it more and more, and I'm getting the.
I'm not saying I've never seen it.
No.
I'm saying
you
it's
don't see
rare.
it much.
Yeah.
Not as rare as you think.
I actually already used the last month twice the return because it was too late. I never done this before.
I tried to find, when I was looking for the Wise stuff, I went on Amazon, and some of the dates that they had 2-day prime shipping, and you go in there and it was like 6, 8, 10 days out.
Yeah, but I mean, in many cases, now if you are not logged in, that's what it'll do.
Oh no, I'm logged in.
Okay.
I'm logged in. It tells me, it's, I don't go on Amazon unless I'm logged in. There's no point. I mean, it's just, why look? Not going to give me accurate information. When I was buying auto parts recently, I like Amazon because I would go and do research and find the parts that I wanted. I go to Amazon and I'd find somebody selling it for a little cheaper that I could get with 2-day delivery for free. And when I order from these other places like Rock Auto, I love them. They're great. The prices are great, but you got to pay for shipping. And the ground shipping could take 5-6 days. So I was using Amazon even for auto parts. I just take a raw part number, stick it in there, and I'd find other options.
Another thing with Amazon is they are shutting down sold by Amazon program. After an investigation from Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson found it was anti-competitive and violated antitrust laws. The company engaged in unlawful price fixing and unreasonably restrained competition in order to maximize its own profit, according to the lawsuits and consent decree filed Wednesday in King County Superior Court. As a result of the investigation, Amazon will shut down the program nationwide and pay $2.25 million to the Attorney General's office, as well as provide annual updates of its compliance with antitrust. The funds will go toward antitrust enforcement. I mean, it's a business. I don't understand why can't a business push its own stuff or let people know. I mean, we're not. I guess we're not privy to how they restrain competition. But in many cases, even now, when I go and look at something on Amazon, I go to the second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth page to see if because I know that they push people back and they put favorites up on top. But
what's weird about that too is because you can search through those pages, and sometimes you're looking for something that's obscure, and that you exhaust all of the actual iterations, and they start to show you some weird stuff that's not related to your search. But
I don't have time for that.
You might
you're right.
You might find what you're looking for a few pages past that, which is weird. So,
yeah. But I guess that's the big boys.
Yep,
do that. Let's see what else we have.
You have the GoFundMe story?
The who?
The GoFundMe story?
No. Go ahead.
The the trucker convoy in Canada was being money was being raised by GoFundMe, and they had over $10 million in there. And at first, they had released some of the money, and then there was some controversy which they got past. And then when the Canadian government accused them of whatever it was they accused them of, GoFundMe said, "This is against our policy. We're locking this account. And if you don't come and request a refund, we're going to give the money to other charities." People lost their minds, literally. I mean, they're saying, what? What are you talking about? Not so much about their reason for blocking it, which is typical of GoFundMe. I mean, they're okay with the defense accounts for rioters for their defense funds, but you can't have a protest in Canada. But be that as it may. So GoFundMe, after being just literally nuked, decided to do automatic refunds now, because they said that they didn't say why. Oh, we decided we're going to do automatic refunds. And so then the CEO had to locked his Twitter account, made it private because of all the feedback they were getting. So, I mean, a big backlash online.
Interesting.
I think GoFundMe is a great service, but here you are being the arbiter of what you like and don't like.
That's not their place. You're right. The Senate Judiciary Committee on Thursday approved legislation that, if passed into law, would force Apple to let users install apps from outside of the App Store.
Ooh.
The bipartisan 21-1 vote is a strong endorsement for the bill from Connecticut, Blumenthal, and all these guys. But it still faced a long road. It faces a long road to get a vote in the full Senate. The bill seeks to loosen the duopoly that Apple and Alphabet's Google have over mobile app distribution, part of Congress' push to curb the power of U.S. technology giants. If you're a consumer, what this measure means to you is cheaper prices, more innovation, better products, and more consumer safeguards by opening the walled garden so that new entrants are willing and able to compete on values like privacy and children's safety. Google and Apple own the rails of the app economy, much as the railroad companies did at the start of the last century.
Those are very interesting analogies. They have nothing to do with reality.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely. I'm thinking, who wrote this stuff? I mean, it's just.
Remember,
it's
talking about people who were there for the railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen?
And again, and I mean, it's fine to allow people to do it from outside, but don't come up with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
I mean, so there's one thing in the quote there that is really, really troublesome. First of all, I mean, I don't think it needs to be by law, but I think it's fantastic that Apple will be forced to allow third-party stores to be installed. Yeah. Now, will it bring more
innovation,
better prices? No, don't delude yourself. I mean, even Google from day one, right, had the alternative marketplace. It existed. There is mostly, it is either for highly technical people who want to try something, right, or it is crap. Like, there's no middle ground. There's no an alternative to the Google ecosystem that works much better or that pushes Google to create innovations that didn't exist and all that, right? Applications, I mean, even Google itself was considered, right, the alternative market to the iPhone App Store when it came out, right? Because it's either one group of the, I mean, just take a look at new applications as they come out. They usually come out first on iPhone, right? Because if you get the approval of Apple, you sort of have some sort of quality stamp, right? And now all you need is, okay, let's just deal with the rest of the world with Android, even though Android is the larger market, right? It's on the Apple ecosystem, you pay more right now. I don't think it'll create the competition that they are mentioning, but it will definitely, I think it will change the face the Apple phone for sure, because suddenly there exists an alternative store for Apple. You need to jailbreak the phone, right? When I was playing with it, it was Cydia. I don't know if that's still the case, but there are applications out there that change the behavior of the iPhone, very similar to what you have an experience in Android. If they'll have a legitimate hold, one thing that will be changed completely on Apple, I think, are all of the restrictions that are currently set in their App Store world. And new categories of applications will be introduced that will allow complete customization, stuff that today the Apple crowd isn't even mostly isn't interested in, because it is too much work to get there. So definitely an interesting twist, but the fact that it comes from a government, I'm not so sure that's a good
right.
idea.
That's
the fact that they claim, oh, this is going to make it safer for children. And so,
well, the
what?
reason, you know why they're saying that?
Oh, because
This
of trafficking things that are happening on the Apple?
No.
No,
This
because
comes.
it's a
There was a children ecosystem that you could download via Apple, and one of the things it wanted to do was create an app store, a curated app store for kids, right? And Apple threw them off the platform because that is against their.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but it was not necessarily because they didn't want child safety.
Right. So they're quoting a specific case in here.
Yeah.
It's just, but that's the thing. The App Store, because it is sort of set in stone right now, you need an archaic entity like the government to tell them, no, this isn't good. This sounds ridiculous.
And it looked, I mean, if you read it, it looks like it was introduced by Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut. And the claim,
Hanoi Dick.
Yeah. And the claims about cheaper prices and more innovation and all that is a quote of what he was saying.
Yeah,
but
I'm guessing. I guess that much. Yeah.
But the fact that 21-1 in the judiciary voted for it, it just shows you how much government knows about what's going on in the real.
Have you ever watched a hearing where they bring somebody in to talk about phone technology and the senators ask questions that they have to have a guy behind them literally telling them what to ask because they have no idea how this stuff works?
Do you remember the sessions with Zuckerberg about Facebook?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes. It was like they had to read from a script and they still didn't understand what they were reading.
And they didn't understand. Yeah, you saw that they have zero understanding. And when they tried to improvise, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we need term limits.
Anybody here plays Wordle?
Ooh. No, I heard about it, but I've never played it. I know it's really popular now.
Yeah, it's very popular game, and you have to guess the word, kind of. The New York Times says has purchased the viral world guessing game Wordle for an undisclosed price in the low seven figures. The newspaper says it'll remain free to play for new and existing players, and no changes will be made to its gameplay. I know Kathy plays in it, and it's like you only get one word a day, or it's sort of like a Wheel of Fortune thing. The principle that you have to guess what letters go in there, and you have to guess what the word is. So it's interesting that the New York Times is buying it. You know, they have a good reason to buy it.
They're privately owned, right?
I don't know.
That's why it will never be disclosed. Otherwise, a
Oh.
public company can't hide that piece of information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, Spence.
Amnon.
You have a show.
I do. And it was a more productive morning than we've had in the last few weeks, with me actually easily finding stuff instead of having to search through or hit blockades and trying to get format that makes it easy for me to do this.
All right.
So I love this one about walking into the restaurant, couple sitting there and says, "We don't eat eggs, meat, fish, dairy, or gluten. What would you recommend?" And the waitress says, "A taxi." Oh, okay. All right. So specials for February 6th, 2022. So we all missed it. This past week we had 2/2/22 and nobody made a big deal out of it.
Finally, nobody made a big deal of dates.
No, I was like, it was like the next day when I realized, oh yeah, 2/2/22.
Oh.
I mean, it wasn't
I remember back in December, somebody wrote Facebook or something, and a prediction. It's like 22/02/22 is going to be a very annoying day on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, what's Facebook again? I mean, I have an account, but it's like I don't use Messenger. I don't respond to Messenger because I got the weirdest stuff over the years. It's like, you want to talk to me, call me. If you know me well enough to Messenger me, then you can call me. But all right. So starting with staples, we've got. Hold on, I need to zoom in a little bit more here. Thank goodness I had good quality on the captures here. I used to try to do this the night before, and what they did the night before was they had previews, but the previews were always in lower resolution for some reason. So I'd capture it and try to blow it up to see on the screen. It would be all grainy. Anything that was gray, I couldn't read.
Yeah, that looks very good.
It wasn't worth trying until I went to the next day. I don't know why they did that. I just
anyway.
Oh well. Anyway, but I digress. Okay. We have a Lenovo 15.6-inch i5 laptop for $599, which is $130 off. That's a 512 SSD, 8 gig of memory. We've got a HP Pavilion Core i5 for $569, which is $100 off. That's 12 gig of memory, 256 SSD. We've got a 15.6-inch i3 from Asus for $329, save $120. And that's not the cheapest laptop, but when you go below this price point, you're starting to get into the MMC storage and maybe some older processors and all that. Not that they're not good, but I think most people want to have a machine that's like at an i3 level or higher, at least for business. We've got an HP 24-inch all-in-one desktop Core i3 for $569. It's got a 23.8-inch screen, 8 gig of memory, 256 SSD. That's $90 off. And the high performance machine here today. It's a 15-inch i7 from Lenovo IdeaPad, 16 gig of memory, 512 SSD, 749, which is 150 off. The cheapest monitor I could find on a reasonable size, I didn't go and look at anything that was 20 inches or less. It's just not worth it for the distancing price. But this is an AOC 24-inch monitor for 139, which is $30 off. Got an Asus 27-inch monitor for 159, which is 20 off. And I always like to include a inexpensive USB backup drive, just because it's the price to entry for one of these is reasonable, has always been reasonable. You can get them sometimes on sale. Well, I forgot about the supply chain. Maybe not anymore. We used to be able to get them for $49.
So this is external, or this is a portable one?
No, it's just a portable drive, and it's the One Touch, which means it has like I don't know if it's a soft touch button or whatever. You just press the button, it'll back up.
Okay.
It has a pre-configured backup, saves your documents, a bunch of other folders automatically. But the point is that for $62 for a 1 terabyte drive, $10 off. If you're not backing up your drive like this, do it. I mean, if you got critical data, you need a cloud backup too, or something else. But back up your documents, back up the stuff, pictures that you really want to keep. I don't hear so much anymore people that say, oh, I have my laptop, I lost my hard drive, I lost everything. But I'm sure it still happens. All right, got a couple of streaming devices here. Google Chromecast for $39.99, 10 off. Got the Amazon Fire Sticks 4K streaming device for $34.99. There's 15 off. I think the cheapest we saw recently was $29. So it's not the best price, but still pretty good. If you're into the Amazon Echo Show, I got the 5 Show 5 Generation 2, $59, 25 off. I was fascinated by this next one. Yeah, it's a chair. Big and tall chair. Interesting. Last time I bought something like that, because I'm 6'4", when I bought a recliner, I went and sat on all these recliners. They're not long enough because my legs hang off to it. They're not comfortable because it's not supporting my feet. So I had to go and buy a big and tall recliner, which I still have. And it's very good, but it's big. But I've never seen a big and tall office chair, at least not on sale. $199, $80 off. So if you fit any of those two categories, might be good. Okay. Couldn't find any really good deals on printers at Staples. But I did find a Brother document scanner, sheet-fed document scanner. This is well below the entry price for the Fuji Scan and the other brands that are out there, Canon, for these sheet-fed document scanners, ones that do automatic two-sided scanning. This is wireless, $249, 20 off. This next Epson camera, Epson projector. Yeah, it's a little expensive, $599, save $30, but it is high resolution, it's HD. But what it includes Android TV and what's the other thing here? Chromecast. Isn't that what did I can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah. So it was kind of blurred out. Which that's fascinating. That's a great idea. No more having to run a cable to your projector. So I like the idea of that, and easy to use. And then finally, I don't know why this jumped out at me, but earlier in my working career, I would have loved to have this map.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to track. I mean, I had in my office, I had a worldwide map, and I put pins in all the places I've been to. And my kids would say, "Where did you go?" Here, let's look at the map. So this would be a fun thing to have for people who travel, or if you have an RV, or going places. It's a cork board. You can stick pins in to say, here's where I've been, here's where I'm going. Just use your imagination. $59. I thought it was cool. Okay, that's at Staples. moving on to Office Depot Office Max. We have a Dell 15-inch laptop and Core i5 16 gig memory, 256 for $569, which is $200 off the regular price. We've got a HP Slim desktop PC bundle with a 23-inch screen, AMD Ryzen 3, 8 gig of memory, 256 SSD, 512, save 55. Got an HP 17-inch Ryzen 3 laptop, 8 gig, 256 solid state drive, 449, save $65. And we do have here one all-in-one with a Ryzen 5. This is an HP 23.8-inch touchscreen PC, 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte. I guess it's a 1 terabyte. I don't think it's an SSD for this. I'm not sure. I should have clicked on it to see what it says. But it's $629, save $135. At that price, it could be an SSD. And we've got a HP Ryzen 5 desktop, 8 gig, 256 SSD for $469, save $60. Yeah, prices are up, but it looks like we're seeing a lot more product get through, which is good. And finally, for PCs, we've got an HP 14-inch AMD 3020E. So this would be, at this price point, $244, which is $35 off. And definitely an entry-level machine. But it may do what you need. 64 gig eMMC storage. Hey, if you need a coffee table, laptop to check email, do some things, great. If you're going to be, it all depends on what you want to do and serve your purpose. I bought something like this, an old Dell touchscreen convertible that was really cheap. It was under $300, but it had a 64 gig eMMC drive. So I replaced it with an SSD and put more memory in it, and it was fabulous. Pam still uses it. So a good starting point for a Windows machine. Got an Epson. Again, not a lot of printers out there, at least nothing good prices. This is what the best inkjet I could find on their site for a reasonable price. Prices are just insane on printers. Epson EcoTank E2800 all-in-one for $199, which is $30 off. And we got some deals on accessories. A Logitech MK270 full-size keyboard and mouse wireless combo, $19.99, save $6. And we got a Logitech K480 wireless keyboard. This does not include a mouse, but this is a compact keyboard for $19.99, save $5. And this has been around for a long time. The Logitech K480. This was an amazing device when it first came out because it's Bluetooth. It's got a selector to go between 3 different Bluetooth devices. And the yellow band that you see across there is actually a slot for you to put your phone or your tablet in. So what was nice about this is if you traveled, you could take with you your laptop, your phone, and a tablet and have just switch between the 3 just with this selector. And it had to keep alive so that it maintained the Bluetooth connection to each of those devices. I always loved this, but it usually ran about $59 was the regular price, but this is now $17. The regular price is $34.99. It's $17.99. What a great utility device here. I work more and more on my iPad, and I think I might like to get something like this just for typing. I do have a Bluetooth keyboard for an iPad inside a case, which I should probably go back. I don't know, it's a Kensington or something like that. I paid a lot of money for it. But just the convenience of this would be great. The case I bought for an iPad will not fit my current iPad, unfortunately. It just won't fit in the case. Could use the keyboard separately. Good deal. Okay, so I just looked at devices in general and found a Belkin USB-C charge adapter for notebook, 100-watt charge and USB Type-C it's got Ethernet, it's got HDMI, a few other things on it. $46.69. Just a handy thing to have if you have a laptop that works with USB-C and charges to USB-C. Element 27-inch monitor for $169. 30 off. An Acer 23.8-inch monitor for $129. That's 10 off. If you want to get into wireless AX, Wi-Fi 6, and you would like an expensive starting point, if you're in a in a place that doesn't require a mesh, if it's not a real big area, but you want to take Wi-Fi 6 does give you a lot of nice features for streaming, for separation of streams, for multiple devices, for handling interference.
Yeah, but you can't just buy this and use it. You have to have Wi-Fi 6, and you need to unmute your mic.
Sorry, I thought I did unmute. But yes, I was going to say that you need to take into consideration that to get the full benefit of Wi-Fi 6, you have to have a Wi-Fi 6 adapter on your device. Chances are you'll find that as a USB add-on. You may be able to upgrade a laptop to Wi-Fi 6, but if it doesn't have the correct antennas built in,
I mean, in many
you're not
cases,
going to be
you
able
can
to take
get
advantage of
a USB dongle.
Yeah, so it will work very well.
Yeah.
Yes, and give you some of the advantages. But I think if you have Wi-Fi 6 adapter, it doesn't need to be one with 3 bands or anything like that to take advantage of the interference capabilities of this. So, hey, $84.99 for a Wi-Fi 6 router. This is a dual band,
and it works with everything else. I mean, it also
does. It's backward compatible.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All
And finally, this is for you, Amnon, in case you don't have one. A trip-light high-speed USB to serial adapter. So for all those serial devices you still maintain, do you have any?
Trying to think.
I remember how you used to have all those serial cables hanging on
Yeah.
a nail over your workbench
Uh,
for all the different types of connections.
I don't think I do anymore.
No, you don't. You don't, because you don't use serial anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still out there. Amazing. I used to put together kits when we had new employees we'd hire into Bay Networks and Nortel. I was usually part of the training classes, and we would put together these kits for all the different serial adapters you needed to access all of the different hubs, switches, routers, whatever it was. This has a 25-pin D shell. This one has a 16-pin, not 16. What was the size? The smaller one. I don't remember how
15.
many pins it was.
No.
Doesn't
9.
matter.
9.
But you had to have gender changers, and you had to have crossovers and all these other things. So we had literally a big Ziploc bag filled with all different adapters you needed. And we had to figure out, well, all these machines that are going to be working on, how many different methods do we have? And there were like 10 different kinds. It was very interesting. So I used to put together these kits for new students. I still have one in a drawer. So Amnon, if you need to access any serial devices, I'm all set for you. All right. So then I figured let's go ahead and let's do a search on weird tech at Amazon. And this is the stuff that came back. Some of it doesn't exactly fit weird tech, but this were all things that were on their page. Okay. Magnetic levitating Bluetooth speaker. Sounds cool. Right? I don't know how it sounds, but it'd be interesting to have this floating orb. Now, you can't tell by the picture how big it is. It could be really small, but $98, and it's normally $149. Well, I've got it crossed out. That's not and plus a 5% coupon on top of that. So, and then the next one is the cheapest version of a 3D printing pen that I could find. Now, the other one that goes for about $75 showed a much neater result thing that the person was creating. Yeah. This is very sloppy. It's just like you're making it with clay. But I guess it would still be fun. But I mean, this could be a disaster.
It is very fun.
Yeah. but it's fun to do. I mean, it's for
Yeah.
kids. Hey, it'll be $39. I don't know what the materials cost, but it
They
says
don't
Abe.
cost a lot. You can
Yeah.
buy for I think $12 or something like that. You can
Yeah.
like it lasts for a while. Yeah, I remember this was on. It started with a Kickstarter, Redoodle, something like that. That's the
Yeah.
name. I bought that for my dad because he's an architect. He likes thinking and stuff like that. He
Oh,
enjoyed
cool.
it. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
So he modeled his buildings using it?
No, but he likes to think of ideas and he thinks in 3D, right? So it was nice, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I think just for something to play with as a stress reliever, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right, this next one, even though it was listed here, is a very handy device. I actually have this mouse, and I got it because I have an issue when I sit at my desk where my hand goes cold.
Yeah, that's the mouse I'm using. That's literally the mouse I'm using right now.
And that's to say, I have exactly that
the Anchor one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very good. It works very well. I've had it for a couple of years now. And
I just checked. I ordered it in 2016. And I mean, it's showing its age, but it's still working.
Yeah, I love it. I don't use a regular mouse there. I'm using one now here at the other desktop because I just didn't buy a second one. But the price has come down. This is really good. It's got all kinds of programmable functions too you can do. It's got a whole bunch of buttons on it. I like Anchor products. I have several. This next one, did you think that Google Glasses went away? Well, these aren't Google, but this is the Viewfine VUF 110 wearable display. So it's like gives you can put it on your glasses. I don't know if it's got to be only on the right eye or not. I can't tell. It could be flipped over to the left eye. But $181 for this wearable display. I don't know the resolution. I don't know what the compatibility is, how it works, but it looked cool. This next one, I don't think I'd walk around with this thing on, but kids might like it, or people exercising, working out, or whatever. But it is a Bluetooth strap on your wrist speaker, outdoor wireless Bluetooth speaker. Now, it says here that it has clear sound, so we have to believe them, right? For $29 for a tiny little speaker.
You can use it on wet condition.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? Of all the devices I have, small devices I have that are not actual earbuds or speakers, the best one I have is my iPad. The sound that comes from that can fill a room, literally. It's so good. I was amazed because I have an iPad Generation 1 and a Generation 2. The one is literally unusable anymore. It's so slow. But the 2 is still functional. You can use it for certain things, but it lags. I don't use it a lot. But the Generation, which one did I have? 10? The one from like 3 years ago. I still use it. It's my go-to couch device, and with the multitasking it has now.
You sit on it?
Huh?
You sit on it?
Yes, very comfortable. It gives me I put my feet on it when I need to, and I sit on it when I have to. It's got a vibrating thing for massage. Very good. So this is a Pocket. We've got a Pocket Talk classic language translator device for $129. Amnon, what was that company we interviewed years ago?
I was just thinking. I can't remember, but I remember.
Yeah, and they gave us a couple of lifetime subscriptions, and I met the guy who created the company at a trade show and talked to him. And then I actually suggested this. I was at a trade show with one of the CTOs of Nortel, and I told him about it. He was real excited about it. At the time, it was an app. And I showed him how it works. And he actually went out that day and bought it. I think the subscription was a couple $100. But yeah, that was very innovative, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there doing it now. But this is just a small handheld, does not require a phone. 82 languages, smart translations in real time. It'd be fun to see how this machine screws up, but it does have a screen on it, which is nice. So, all right.
So it's not. They didn't make it in the shape of a fish. The babble fish.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I like this funny tech T-shirt. It says tech support checklist. Before you bother me, is it plugged in? Is it turned on? Are you sure? Seriously, go check.
I have that shirt. I got it as a birthday present a few years back.
I was on a cruise a number of years ago, and it was the first ship for Princess that had this thing called Medallion. And it was literally everybody gets a little Wi-Fi tag that you carry with you. It's the way you get in your cabin. In the beginning, it was literally just you could find out where your family members were, and you could open your cabin door. But it couldn't be used for. Now it's used for purchases. You just go swipe, you fan it against the reader, and you buy your drink, right? But they were just installing it. We were on the very first ship to have it, and the very first iteration of a live use by customers, by passengers. And the guys were in the hallway outside of our cabin with doors open, and they were working on this equipment. And I had on a T-shirt that said, "No, I will not fix your computer." And these were guys, they weren't Americans, but they were young men, well educated. They saw this shirt and they wanted to have pictures taken with it because they loved the shirt. It was cool. All right, this next one is a sharper image, light up electronic word clock. And I thought this was pretty interesting. So it tells you the time by just lighting up. And if those of you that don't see this, it is just literally a bunch of characters that are backlit on this board. It's 7 by 7 inches. And it will read you the time by lighting up it. These are words. It is 5 minutes past 11. And you read those words. And then next to it, it is 6 minutes past 11 or whatever it be, because all these numbers are on here in some place on this clock. $24. It's pretty interesting. It'd be an interesting desktop thing to have. Unfortunately, with our children not being able to read dial clocks anymore, it might not be a good idea to let your kids use it, although it would encourage them to read. We were actually our kids were in the generation where digital clocks, and I mean, the first ones were these little metal tabs that would drop on a digital clock. But it would say that it would actually tell you 10:25, but it would be these little numbers that would flip down. And we had that clock when our daughter was young, and didn't really teach her how to read an analog clock until she was a little bit older. And she still struggled with it as she was getting older. She's good with it now, but back then it was like, we really probably should have just kept the dial, analog clock. Just like having Velcro on your sneakers. You'd have to learn how to tie your shoes. Okay. So this is a weekly planner, and get it done for 222, but it has 2 letters in front of it in a different color, if you can get my meaning. So it's for 825. It's with motivational quotes. It's 5 by 8. I thought that was pretty funny. And everybody has to have this for their home theater experience here. You probably don't remember this, Gal, but when Amnon and I were younger, there was a gimmick that they had. Make your black and white TV into a color TV. Oh, and it was, have you ever seen this thing? It was just a prism film that you'd lay over the screen, and it didn't make accurate colors. It just made it
kaleidoscopic.
Yeah. So I remember that was in comic books and stuff. Oh, you can make, color TV, and you buy it. It's like, this is crap.
Yeah. I remember ads or something like this for CRT TVs.
Yes, to make it a big screen.
To make it a bigger screen. Yeah. Also,
so now
terrible. Yeah.
Now you've got this 12-inch magnifier, 3D HD. 3D?
Yeah, that's what they say.
It might, it might be.
Yeah.
I mean, 3D in that, there's distance between the phone and the screen, but that's the only thing that's 3D about it. Phone magnifier projection screen for movies, videos, gaming, foldable phone stand with screen, $11.97. Yeah, it's a good deal, right? You could have it tomorrow, Amnon.
Yeah.
Or today, if you order soon.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Or this next one, it's hysterical. Lightning reaction reloaded, shocking game. This is where everybody gets the same shock, and the person who can stand it the longest before they press the button to turn it off wins. That's awesome. I mean, think about that. Your tolerance to pain, basically. Oh man, I didn't think this stuff.
Have you seen?
We don't recommend it.
Have you seen? There was a Bruce Willis movie, Replicas or something like that, where it's the future. People are buying replicas of their own that are going out into the world, and you basically stay at home in a pod and experience the world through this replica. Okay. And the whole idea is, right, it's safer, it's cleaner, you are protected, and whatever happens to your secondary body, right, it is replaceable and all that. And one of the pastimes of the fringe of is taking a shocker into like the replica, right? You would have your replica because it does pass sensation, but in a very dimmed way. And that is the way to feel pain. This is something like that.
Oh.
Anyway.
I have to look that up. Sounds cool for a movie.
And finally, it's an okay movie, not a very good one.
I was going to get you this one, but I was going to check with you first. I've actually seen this. I know somebody who has this thing. It's a yodeling pickle. You squeeze it, and it actually yodels. It has a button on it. So I thought this would be a good stress reliever for you. You'd have it on your desk, and when you get frustrated, just let the pickle yodel. Oh. And this is not a gag. This is a real product. I've actually seen it. So it's right up there with their Christmas pickle. Well, they have a pickles ornament for your Christmas tree. All right, so there we've wasted a good 15 minutes of your day on crazy stuff for Computers 2K Now specials. Thank you very much. Thanks for wasting time with us today.
Oh, Spence. Anyway,
there we go.
What's happening in the chat? Eleanor was saying some kind of car part. Jan was asking her what problem. Oh, okay. So they solved the problem.
1987 Town and Country wagon. Wow. Oh, 2.2 liter. That means it's a built on the K car body. If it's an 87. Needs an idle air controller valve. Huh.
Yeah.
87 Chrysler. I had a K car. That was the first new car I bought. It was $7,000. K car station wagon. No air conditioning, 2.2 liter engine. Oh, it's got a turbo in this one. Interesting. I don't remember what year it was. It had to be. When did the Chrysler K car come out? I remember.
I don't remember, but I remember they were very popular.
I didn't buy the first generation of it. I bought like the third year because it was just 81. It came out. So I think mine was like an 84. It was good for us at the time, but when we finally had 3 children, and
you got a van,
it wasn't big enough. Yeah, and I went from this K car station wagon to a full size Dodge van.
Yep, I remember that.
You remember the van?
Yep.
Yeah, that's when I first moved here. I had that.
All right, so SpaceX has rolled out a new, more powerful premium tier of its Starlink satellite internet service that's targeted at businesses and enterprise customers. The new product, which was added to the company's website last Tuesday night, comes at 5 times the cost of the consumer-focused standard service. Starlink Premium requires a $500 fully refundable deposit, $2,500 fee for the antenna and router, and service is $500 a month. The standard Starlink service, which launched in October 2020, is a $99 fully refundable, a $4.99 hardware fee, and service is $99 per month. But Elon Musk's company it proved that they don't talk about anything about what the speed is. They say that it's delivering faster internet speed and higher throughput. But it's very expensive now. If you're if there's a company somewhere in the middle of nowhere that can't get high speed internet, that would work. And talking about SpaceX, I wanted to also mention those of you here that know Sean, a friend Sean, sent me a message last week that he got a job with them doing video stuff.
He's going to ride. He's going to ride on the outside of the rocket.
I don't know.
They're going to strap him to the rocket. He's going to
with a camera, right? Yeah.
Did you see the story that they launched?
He's been working on it for almost a year. He finally got it. He's right out of college. So this is great.
Did you see SpaceX? SpaceX launched a top secret military satellite, and the booster came back and landed from that. It's just how many landings, successful landings they have now? It's over
a bunch.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just can't get over how that idea was in sci-fi and in movies back in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, was a rocket that took off and landed vertically. And that concept was abandoned. And now it's back and it's working and it's proven and it's safe. It's amazing.
Well, safe is a relative term.
Well, we haven't lost anybody yet. Yeah. And you don't bring anybody down on it. So
I was reading something and they said that the Titan, they call it, the rocket.
The what?
Titan.
Titan rocket.
I think
Titan. Yeah.
Yeah. They said it's
Titan. That was the one that was used to launch the Gemini.
Yeah.
The Titan. It was actually like it was an ICBM they converted to.
What do they call their rocket now?
Who?
SpaceX.
SpaceX.
Falcon.
Yeah. Falcon 9 is the safest rocket in history so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Titan was actually a big step for them to take for Gemini, because they needed a reliable booster and a reliable launch vehicle.
So according to a post on Microsoft IT Pro blog, listen to this. Windows computers will need at least 8 hours of online time to obtain and install the latest OS updates successfully.
What?
Did we just go offline on
Windows?
Wait. No.
I'm not.
Why did they say that? I just got to think.
He's not.
Say it again. What? Did you lose me?
Happened. We had some type of a glitch here because
I got a thing on Twitch that said it's offline. Maybe there was some glitch somewhere. So am I back?
Well,
John says channel 1 went offline. They say people, we lost us for about 10 to 15 seconds.
But did you get me back? I guess not.
You never left Zoom.
But there was something weird. It was a little weirdness there for a second.
Okay, it looks like everything is working.
Yeah.
Interesting. So there was some kind of Yeah, there was a glitch because I saw the notice from whatchamacallit, from Twitch that said that Computer Studio now is offline. But everything looks okay. Up there. No. All right. It sounds like YouTube is fine. Anyway, according to a post on the Microsoft IT Pro blog, Windows computers will need at least 8 hours of online time to obtain and install the latest OS updates successfully. Anybody came across that?
No, and that's for Windows 10?
Well, they don't
Not
say
11?
Windows 10. The latest, that means Windows 11, I would.
Well, okay.
That's from Tom's Hardware. It says another revelation in the post is that Microsoft tracks how long PCs are connected to Windows Update, calling the statistics update connectivity. The data is available to IT managers in the Intune app, a component of the endpoint management suite. I don't know about 8 hours to get
Okay,
an
I
operating
see.
system.
No. I see the problem here.
But
It's not about being connected at 8 hours to download. So Windows 10 introduced this thing where it asks you if where they guess when it's the best time of day um, to install the updates, so it won't be intrusive with your workday. And instead of you choosing the hours, so there's a bunch of metrics and statistics that go into it, and so the Windows Update servers, they calculate it per the clients that are connected to it. It's not if you're the type to do your updates manually, or if you have a managed environment where somebody else is doing the legwork, you don't need to worry about this metric, right? So it's all about automatic updates, how they determine when it's time to install on your machine. And the connectivity, the 8 hours, it's 8 hours a day. It's like it needs to gather statistics about your behavior on the computer online in order to determine that. Yeah, it's a weird title that is being repeated and repeated and repeated. The first article is from February 1st, and there's an analysis of what it means, but it's not what the title means.
okay.
It's not that you need to wait 8 hours for it to download.
Yeah, because it's saying here that 8 hours of online time to obtain and install the latest OS updates.
Right. So
you would think
you just install the fresh Windows, right?
Yeah.
And you're going online. It's not going to kick in automatic updates immediately unless you force it manually.
Okay.
That is what I'm reading out of it. It's going to take at least 8 hours before the first automatic update will come. I mean, we know that downloading doesn't take hours. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah. So that's what it means. It means that for 8 hours, it is probably exposed unless you are doing it manually.
Okay. Makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right. A warning. The government website for free COVID tests, covidtests.gov, opened for business on January 18, along with the related site, special.usbs.com, where users are directed to place an order with the Postal Service. The
We
reason
got
why
the tests this week, by the way.
I got it too.
Yeah. There are a lot of scam sites out there that came right after that this announcement. This is why, and with names that are close to this one. I don't know how they can get .gov, but I guess the .com of the USPS. I mean, they just different spelling. So
Don't worry, we'll get the full force of the postal inspectors all over.
Just so what they put out is that it's called COVID tests.gov and special.usps.com. These are the only two. Make sure that it's the right spelling when you go there. I just thought that it'll be.
So if it's free, what are they getting from you with the scam? If it's supposed
Social
to be free,
security number. If you're
charge
thinking
people?
you're going to a government site,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they
And it
didn't ask
asks
for
you
your
for social
Sec-
security number.
They get
and
your
you
information.
fall
What
for it. Yeah.
I didn't have to give them my social security number. To
Of course not. But if you are going to a wrong site, you
Yeah,
wouldn't know.
they
I
can
see what
ask-
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realize.
You and me won't fall for that trap, but there are people who will. Just because they're not,
Yeah, they're going to get
They're
something
naive.
from you.
Yeah.
They said that since it was announced, there were like 800 web-related websites that were registered all around the world with
Amazing.
something similar to this. All right. Google will finally start rolling out the Gmail redesign. It first showed off last year. The company is calling the interface in the update the integrated view because the goal is to integrate Google's latest messaging service, Google Chat, which is a Slack competitor and the successor to Hangouts.
Yeah, Hangouts doesn't work anymore, by the way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Google Meet, a Zoom competitor, into Gmail. So everything will be through Gmail. The main
I noticed that the website now, when you load Gmail, says Google Workspace.
Oh.
Instead of saying Google Mail.
The main section will remain mostly the same, but there are plenty of changes coming to Gmail navigation sidebar. Currently, the Gmail sidebar houses the sections you would expect, like the inbox, draft, trash, and your list of labels. The redesign will add a second new higher level navigation panel to the left side of the page, letting user jump between Gmail, Google Chat, Spaces, and Google Meet. Besides the 4-app navigation option, the new sidebars also has a stack of icons at the bottom, and it's not entirely clear what they are. They look like chat profile pictures, so they could be either active chats or starred contacts. Since no one has tried this interface yet, the author was saying we don't know many details. But it may be interesting at that point. How did you know that Hangouts doesn't work, Gal?
I have one contact
Yeah.
that I usually reach out. He usually reaches out to me in Hangouts, vice versa. And I tried this week on the phone, and it says, "Can you please use Gmail Chat? Log into Gmail and use Gmail Chat." Yeah. So the Gmail application, if you're using an Android at least, already shows the chat functionality at the bottom.
It shows, or does it work?
You
don't know.
Here at the bottom, the chat in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's on the Gmail app.
But you don't know that it's actually working.
Yeah. Oh, it's working. It's working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's working. It's just integrated into the Gmail app. So if you any contact that you, and it shows the everything you had in the Hangouts chat, the history. It's there. It's probably just a. It's literally just a rebranding and an embedding into Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm guessing they did drop. They used to have dial out option from Hangouts that you could dial actual phone numbers. That was so weird because they already had Google Voice, so it wasn't. It was never clear of why they're introducing like a new way of dialing. I guessing they dropped that one out, but yeah, it's there.
Let's see what else. Now we're talking about SSDs, the special and all that. This is very technical, and I don't pretend to understand everything about it, and it'll be interesting to talk about. Most companies still haven't shifted their entire NVMe's SSD lineup to use PCI Express 4.0, but PCIe 5.0 SSDs for PCs are already on the horizon. Storage company Silicon Motion said in a recent earnings call that it expects its PCIe 5.0 capable SSD controllers for consumer SSDs will be available sometimes in 2024, opening the door to a wide variety of high-performance drives from different manufacturers. SSD manufacturer AData teased some PCIe 5.0 SSDs at CES last month without an expected release date, boasting of read speeds up to 14 gigs a second and write speed up to 12 gigs a second using a Silicon Motion SM2508 controller. Current high-end PCIe 4.0 like Samsung's 980 top out at roughly half those speeds. But if you have, I'm wondering if these controllers are on the SSD side or on the controller side on the motherboard.
No, they're on. So they're relevant on a PCIe 5 backbone, right?
Okay.
And the controller is on the storage itself. It's on the stick itself.
Okay. So it's not gonna. Hopefully, it's not gonna have a bottleneck on the motherboard. It says, "Oh yeah, you're giving me stuff too fast. I can't process."
No. My guess is if you'll plug it into a PCIe 4 slot, right?
Yeah.
It'll function.
Okay, so that's
in the speeds that the board. Yeah.
right. So it does have to do with the motherboard.
Yeah, it's like graphic cards, right? Where the slots, it needs to be on a slot with a minimum performance, but once it's there, it'll use whatever bandwidth it'll be allowed to use. So.
Yeah. Here is some more interesting information for users of Windows. Plenty of apps that you install on your computer have a setting that tells them to launch when you initially log in to save you the trouble of launching your most commonly used app yourself. And that's called the startup. And if you go to the startup, if you do Control-Alt-Delete and go to Task Manager and Startup, you're going to see programs that start when Windows comes up. And many of them don't need to start up. I have no problem click on Edge to start it. I have no problem, with some of these programs. I want to start them. Or, it may start when you call them. And they take a lot of power away from you. Something you can use different.
Right.
Leaving these settings leaving the setting on can also allow an app to check for updates or launch more quickly when you start them for the first time. So we're talking it's going to take a minute instead of a second instead of half a second. Okay, it's really nothing to worry about. The difference for some of the pre-installed Microsoft apps in Windows 10 and 11 is that they use some of these resources by default, whether you actually use the apps or not. Developer and IT admin Michael Newhouse drew attention to some of these apps in recent blog posts examining the resource usage of Windows 11 widgets, Microsoft Teams,
widgets,
and Microsoft Edge in a fresh install of Windows 11. The Edge observation applies to Windows 10 too. Both widgets and Teams spawn a number of Microsoft Edge WebView 2 processes in order to work. WebView 2 is a way to use Edge and its rendering engine without launching Edge or using its user interface.
This is Internet Explorer all over again.
Yeah.
No, the Internet Explorer control. It's
The widget related processes don't start unless you actually click the widgets button, though they remain in the background afterwards, even if you're not actively viewing your widgets. But the Teams processes all launch automatically, whether you actually use Teams or not. Uninstalling Teams will prevent this from happening, but he points out that simply removing the Teams icon from Windows 11's taskbar in the taskbar setting is enough to keep these WebView 2 processes from launching when you log in. Ars Technica also recommends disabling System Boost in the Edge settings if you don't use it as your default browser. Otherwise, it too will use a couple of 100 megabytes of memory.
There's one additional thing that should. So just like cell phones, Windows has it introduced it in 10, but I think in 11 it's a lot more prominent, especially for what's called the store apps that come from the store that are tied a lot more to the internals. It's no longer an executable that you launch. It's like the whole process of managing the application is managed by the OS a lot more. It's a lot more involved. And one of the things that they've added are like permissions, very similar to what we're used to see in mobile applications, right? Or whether Android or Apple, you could decide whether that application has access to location, that application has access to storage, etc. One of the I'm looking for one in the Windows 10 machine that my wife uses. One of the permissions is allow this app to work in the background. So by default, Microsoft Windows comes with a bunch of apps like maps and mail and contact, etc. And if you go to those apps and change the permissions, you can define it so they don't run in the background. There's like an option for that. So definitely take a look for that. I'll tell you what to search in a second. But the first thing I do on every new Windows 11 system that I touch is a couple of things. First, there's the widget stuff, the news and all that. That is like, nobody wants that. Like literally nobody wants it on their desktop. I don't know why Microsoft thought it was a good idea. Take that out. If you are not actively using Teams, take that out as well. The chat. It's bloatware. I mean,
yeah, that's what it is.
Every OS
You're
has
right.
its own bloatware. So
Yeah.
So if you look for, if you go to apps and features, an application will have something called advanced options. And then you'll see some specification, app permissions, and below app permissions, there's going to be a backgrounds apps permission. And there you can let this app run in the background. There's an option, then you can select whether it is going to be allowed or never. So know that you might have more control in Windows 10 about these things, and you can, at least for certain things, I'm pretty sure there are some system applications that Microsoft won't give you the permission to change. But if you're not allowed to remove the app, most of the time you'll be allowed to say, hey, don't run in the background. So that's the way you regain some control.
Yeah, and you know, I love how they said that they use a couple of hundred megabytes of RAM. I mean,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. And if you
because
have
it's Chrome spinning up, it's a big
And if you have a computer, you know, if you bought a laptop lately and it only has 4 gig, I mean, come on, you want to save as much as you can.
There's more. I mean, look, Edge is a great Chrome clone, don't get me wrong. But by default, it comes in baked with so many features that you don't want. And nobody's aware, most are not aware that those are active.
Right.
And if you go to the properties, right? If you go to settings, so first of all, it's all convoluted and complex to see. But if you go to privacy, search, and services, right? Let me read the options and you'll understand what I mean. Okay. So you have a very long list. And under, where is that? Personalize your web experience. Okay. Let me enlarge it because I can't see. So
how do you get to this? Settings, what?
Yeah, so open Edge, go to settings, right? And you have a long list of options. But under, first under privacy, search, and services, okay? First of all, if you want to change your default search engine, it's all the way down. There's an address bar in search, and then there's another page where you can choose. And at the bottom, you can choose a different default search, for example. So that's search. But before we go to search, above that, there are services. So use a web service to help resolve navigation errors. That's whenever you get a 404 from a website, instead of getting the error, you get a page that Edge shows you with some helpers. Hey, anybody who's listening to this program, switch that off. You don't need that. And Microsoft doesn't need to know which wrong turns you've made. So, right, switch it off. Suggest similar sites when a website can't be found. You put in a typo, right? And Microsoft says, hey, did you mean this or that? It also means Microsoft thinks it knows where you're going. Switch that off. Save time and money with shopping in Microsoft Edge. Now, if you want suggestion on coupons and stuff, and you understand that you get that in exchange of basically sharing your browsing activity with Microsoft, by all means, leave it on. But otherwise, switch it off. It's also something that works in the background and slows the connection, and it's a resource, right? And usually it involves with annoying pop-ups on the web page. So you don't want that. Show opportunities to support causes and nonprofit you care about. Fantastic idea, right? I want to help out, but this means Microsoft
knows about it.
It means you are sharing your behavior with Microsoft. So do it if that's okay with you. By the way, it's not bad in any way. It uses Microsoft Rewards. Nick, right? He uses Bing and Microsoft Rewards, and he likes it, but he understands what he is exposing, right? He understands what he's sharing about himself. Remember, we are the product when it's free, right? So, and other things to, and show travel recommendations in Microsoft Edge, right? Why the hell would I want Microsoft to give me travel recommendations when I'm going to travel sites? I'm already dealing with my travel plans. So those are just the privacy stuff, right? And they're buried at the bottom after a few legit items that are at the top. Optional diagnostic data, you can switch that off. Search and service improvement, you can switch that off as well, right? Under the security, there is one interesting checkbox that I would say leave that on, but make a change. And that is use security DNS to specify how to look up the network address for website. This is DNS over HTTPS. And this is fantastic. This prevents your ISP from tracking your behavior. But use current service provider means you haven't set it properly, and choose a service provider. That is probably what you want. And the way you do it is they have some defaults set up there. Cloudflare is known to be good. You can use Google if you trust them. There's NextDNS and OpenDNS. And there's one with a family filter on it by default. That's baked into Edge. That is fantastic. So you get these, but keep in mind, right, that any feature you're switching on, you're usually going through someone, and someone is analyzing that data. That's all. This is no different, by the way, than Brave. Brave is usually, showed as a flagpole, put it on a pedestal as a very privacy-oriented Chrome clone. But it also has some features it has enabled by default and versus the others. So keep in mind when you're allowing or when you're using something, go to the settings, try to figure out what you can switch off. And know that even if you switched off everything, there are some stuff that is completely transparent to us and we can't switch off. Again, Edge, fantastic Chrome clone. I like very much what they did as a default browser. We finally have a good default browser in an OS, in a Windows OS. That wasn't the case since forever, right? Because Internet Explorer, when it came out, it was never good. It was just there. So at least we have a good default. We're working with web standards. We're all of that of using something that is completely crap is in the past. But keep in mind, you're exposing yourself a lot more to Microsoft than what you used to do.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And one other thing to mention about the last segment is happy birthday, gal.
That's ages ago, man.
Well, okay, still.
Are you 25?
I'm 25, but
At
I
least.
have a few years of experience being 25.
Yeah. It's the 22nd anniversary of your 25th birthday.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's that time of day again.
No.
Anything else anybody wants to add? this last segment with how to tweak is very interesting and very how would I say effective. So you will need to come back to listen if you did not follow exactly what it'll be. Like always, it'll be available online for you.
Where's the transcription?
Amnon isn't typing fast enough.
That's right.
I just want to mention something. Remember, we talked about the 8 hours in Windows?
Yeah.
So I was looking for the articles talking about it. And so listen to this. It has nothing to do with Microsoft Windows. Need new Windows? Prepare to wait. It's about shortage and delays in the supply chain. So
really.
So I wonder if that prompted whoever wrote the article about the 8 hours. He was ordering Windows and he had to wait.
I'm wondering, I mean, and I don't know the answer. Can you actually buy Windows 11 pack? I mean, you're like a package?
Like a retail box?
Yeah.
I don't
know.
I mean, that's something that if it would be available, it would be sold in either a GameStop or an Office Max, right? Or something Staples.
I guess. Anybody in the chat knows? Did you ever see a Windows 11 anywhere on the shelf?
I'm guessing today, if you buy it, you probably buy just the license key and the rest is downloaded. But what do you do if you need to install it offline? You need to have an online machine, download it, and then install
Create
it.
a disk.
Yeah.
No, Amnon at Walmart, there's an end cap with Windows 11 boxes.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like 4x4 foot boxes. Yeah. And it's filled with air. And at the bottom, there's a code inside the bottom of the box. But they want everybody to see the big boxes as Windows.
But do they sell a USB key?
I don't know.
No, that's
legit question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll research this and come back to you guys next week is the answer.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, thanks, Gal. And happy birthday again. And thanks, Spence.
You're welcome.
It was fun. And good morning, Kathy, Anna, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Donna, Dina, Arlette, Micha, Eleanor, Fareed. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember again, Nick, who is today somewhere in a conference in the mountains of North Carolina, does his daily show Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. in Wilmington on 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. And you can listen to it on your Amazon, on your Echo device. Just tell it to play 980 The Wave. And you can also listen to the recordings at nickcraig.com. Also on Tuesday, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. So this is for survival games. So 7 p.m., you can go to twitch.tv/Infection Podcast to watch that show. We'll see you, or you'll see us next Sunday at 9. Have a great week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.